Dirt Trax is sponsored by Can-Am. The ride says it all. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation. And by Yamaha. Conquer outdoors.
For nearly a decade, Polaris's RZR has been either battling with older versions of itself or showing the competition just how far they still have to go if they want to be taken seriously in the pure sports side-by-side segment. Polaris has more than proven they're capable of beating themselves at their own game. But what happens when the competition steps up to level the playing field? Roseau and Thief River Falls, Minnesota are just down the road from each other, and we're pretty sure a little bit of peeking over the fence goes on from time to time. Wildcat has been on a divine mission these past few years. It started with the original Wildcat, a vehicle that showed us they are paying attention to Polaris's biggest and baddest, and that they too understand what it takes to go fast in the dirt. Then came the Trail, a stab directly at the heart of the 50-inch class. And now, the sport has been unleashed and is targeted directly at Polaris's 60-inch RZR 900S. We spend a decent amount of time perusing our social media accounts, reading comments, and following general trends and perceptions about not just the industry as a whole or each manufacturer, but about how we at Dirt Trax are perceived as well. And what we do is a double-edged sword. If we don't give honest, hard-hitting opinions on the vehicles we test and the shootouts we perform, our viewers feel like those segments are hollow. But when we do give honest, blunt opinions, we get labeled lovers or haters of that particular brand. So here's the deal. We're going to look at both of these vehicles today and find out which one rules. And you might not like the result. Maybe you own the one that loses. Maybe you simply disagree. At the end of the day, pleasing everyone isn't what we're here for. We're here for the truth. Period. And here it is. The Wildcat Sport is the most exciting 60-inch sport side-by-side to hit the market in a long time. Why? Because it has all the stuff needed to rule this segment. We know there are others that attempt to play here, but none have come as prepared for battle as the Wildcat Sport. Ergonomically speaking, the Wildcat Sport is near perfection. Its low-slung, cart-style seating is perfect for any type of riding you could or would want to do with this vehicle. Track, trail, dune, fire road, being low makes you feel more stable and secure, especially when you're power sliding through corners at 55 miles an hour. On the track, power delivery is excellent thanks to its top-of-the-line Team Rapid Response clutches. On the other hand, this 700 twin does feel a little bit soft. On the trail, the Sport's suggested though not officially confirmed 60 to 65 horsepower is more than enough and will push this buggy to around 65 miles an hour at full jam, though it is working pretty hard to get those last 6 or 7 miles an hour. Let's be clear here, as a 700, this motor is impressive, but compared to its competition, it's just a little bit lacking. The Sport Limited comes from the factory with a full set of Carlisle Trail Pro tires, and these tires are fine for general, all-round use, but on a premium performance vehicle, they simply lack bite, especially on acceleration and especially in loose conditions. Elka Stage 5 shocks all around are damping just over 12 inches of front and rear wheel travel. Infinitely tunable in every way, these almost unbelievably premium shocks are, hands down, the best ever offered on a stock vehicle and are worth their weight in gold. The ride characteristics of the Wildcat can be tuned for pretty much any scenario, whether it be huge doubles on a racetrack to high-speed whoops in the desert or severely rutted single track in the woods. You can make this vehicle ride how you want it to. Arctic's limited model comes standard with some really nice upgrades. A set of full doors, sweet graphics, power steering, great looking aluminum wheels, and of course the Elka shocks. In our opinion, you're getting way more than you're paying for with the limited package.
Dirt Trax is sponsored by Princess Auto, a unique world of equipment, tools, and more.
The old Razor 800 is gone, and it's been completely replaced by this new 900S. To say this new vehicle is better in every way wouldn't even come close to doing it justice. Ergonomically, the Razor does not feel nearly as aggressive as the Wildcat. Its seats, though softer and definitely more comfortable, are positioned far more upright. In actuality, this doesn't affect the vehicle at all. It only affects driver confidence when the vehicle gets sideways. The higher you are, the more tippy it feels. It's not tippy, but it feels like it, especially when you climb directly out of the Wildcat and into the Razor like we did during testing. On the other hand, the seat's adjustable, and when you combine that with an adjustable steering wheel and massive legroom, you can get yourself positioned in the Razor exactly how you want to be. On the track, the Razor over-delivers on every front. Its 900 twin produces its 75 ponies through a perfectly tuned set of CVT clutches. 27-inch GVC dirt commanders provide grip like an NHRA dragster and have quickly become our favorite for all-round use on a sport side-by-side. Full throttle corner exits push you back in your seat, and you can wait longer to throttle up to the face of a jump, knowing the power is there to get you over. A full set of Fox Podium X 2.0 shocks damp 12 inches of front and 13 inches of rear wheel travel. The rear A-arms are tipped in at the front, and this rear suspension geometry helps improve overall chassis stability in all conditions. The Podium X 2.0 shocks are adjustable and do a great job of soaking up everything from small trail junk to huge landings at the track. They can be tuned for rider preference and have impressed everyone with how plush a ride they offer right out of the box. The Razor costs about $800 more than the Wildcat at retail, but still includes an impressive list of goodies. It's got excellent aluminum wheels with Dirt Commander tires, semi-doors, premium seats, cool graphics, power steering, and of course Fox Podium shocks. So you really are getting a lot for your money. But at the end of the day, you've heard all this stuff before. What you're here for right now is to find out which one we think is the better buy and why. In terms of ergonomics, these two vehicles end up in a tie. The cart style seating of the Wildcat is definitely superior to the more upright style seating of the Razor. However, the Razor seats are adjustable, there's more legroom, and the seats themselves are just more comfortable. Now, I hate ties, but in this case, it's legit. When it comes to horsepower, the Polaris has more. There is no arguing that. And if we were basing our comparison on horsepower, it would have had an unfair advantage. But recently, Arctic has been talking a lot about power to weight ratios. And in that sense, on paper, these two vehicles are almost identical, with the Polaris at 6.1 horsepower per 100 pounds and the Arctic at approximately 6.06 horsepower per 100 pounds. Performance math says they are comparable, and Arctic seems to agree, so we're gonna go with it. As a 700, the Wildcat's motor is impressive, but as Mark has always said, there's no replacement for displacement. And in this case, equal ratios on paper do not translate into equality in the dirt. The Razor does have more power. It gets that power to the ground with more authority, and it pulls harder, longer through its power band. Suspension was one category every tester was really surprised with. Based on specifications, the Wildcat should have this one nailed, but this is another example of how the truth can't always be found on paper. And this one is simply a matter of design. The Elka Stage 5s found on the Wildcat are the most impressive shock package ever offered on a factory vehicle, and they are superior to the Fox units found on the Razor. But no amount of fiddling with trick shocks can make up for superior suspension geometry, and the Razor has it. The design of its double A-arm front and rear suspension systems do an excellent job of smoothing out the small stuff and providing a plush, controllable ride while still maintaining excellent big hit bottoming resistance. After riding the two vehicles back to back, the results are impossible to deny. When we boil things way down and start talking about value, this is where things start to get a little tense among our crew. The Wildcat is $800 cheaper than the Razor at retail. You're getting all the same features, plus a full set of doors and the Elka shocks. For $800 more, you still gotta buy doors for your Razor, but it does have 10 to 13 more horsepower and way better tires. So the question is, Could you spend $800 on your Wildcat and get it to perform like your Razor? And the answer is probably not. You might get it close, but let's be honest. Whether they spend the $800 extra on the Razor or not, everyone knows sport side-by-side owners are chronic upgraders. They will all spend money on performance-enhancing products. So is the base price difference really that big a deal? Both of these vehicles are excellent sport side-by-sides. The Wildcat is extremely capable of anything you can throw at it and has ultra-premium suspension components and a fantastic seating position. But the Razor is still just a little bit better in nearly every way. Ergonomically, it was, overall, more comfortable. Ride quality was, overall, just a bit better. It's more powerful, and when you consider the extra horsepower and the fantastic stock tires, the $800 price difference is inconsequential. Everyone who tested both of these vehicles completely agreed. The Wildcat has nothing to apologize for. It's an absolutely excellent 60-inch sport side-by-side. On the other hand, every single one of those very same testers also agreed, there's no question, Polaris's Razor is the obvious winner.
Closed captioning of Dirt Trax is sponsored by Triton Trailer, built for adventure.
The sports side-by-side world is harsh. Its landscape is unforgiving and rarely leaves room for others to survive. And to stay afloat, a manufacturer must do things so far beyond expectations there's nothing left besides dropped jaws and smoking tires. And by this, I mean the now 131 horsepower Can-Am Maverick Turbo. While the 131 horsepower version is not available as of yet, I do have a brand new 2015 Max XDS in 121 horsepower that's ready to take out for a spirited drive. While our Black Devil build from last season was built off the XDS Turbo, it was a two-seater, and also we had very little time to really get it out for a good squeeze. But now with plenty of time before sending it off, we wanted to get some early impressions of just how capable this rig is, so we know just how good we did when we're finished. So without further ado, let's light the fires and spin some tires. Right away, it's quite apparent that this vehicle needs more horsepower. No, I'm completely kidding. This thing is insane and I love every second of it. Thanks to a 976cc turbocharged and intercooled V-twin spinning forged pistons and sucking air through a Donaldson high-flow air filter, this rig rips. Literally, it rips, tears, and shreds anything under its 28-inch tires. And when the motor makes its boost, it hits like a heavyweight. I'm always a proponent of more horsepower, and the fact that for 2016 Can-Am stepped it up with 10 more, well, that makes me just plain proud of them. This side-by-side is an absolute rocket ship in 121 horsepower dress, and I can only imagine 10 more makes it better. The power is not at all harsh, but rather refined and linear as you lay into it. Down low it's quite settled prior to building boost, and even in the parking lot is not jumpy. But when you put your boots to the floorboards, hold on tight, because this is the wildest ride factory side-by-side in the business, and not just by a little bit. And another area this rig delivers big on is size. It is quite literally a city block long, but it's precisely because of that length that it rides so good. I'm certain that this is the best riding Maverick built, as the longer wheelbase helps to smooth out impacts that typically feel harsh. The massive 2.5-inch Body Fox piggybacks do a good job with keeping that smooth ride throughout whatever the trail may throw at you. And in my opinion, these shocks are only rivaled by Arctic Cat's use of the Elka Stage 5s. So Can-Am calls their rear suspension torsional trailing A-arms, or TTA. After taking a closer look, it looks a lot like dual A-arms with a locating rod. After riding it, it feels a whole lot like progression. 16 inches of travel out back is big, and because of the way the TTA was designed, the trailing arms are mounted in a very strange location, making the impacts you encounter out on the trail feel much lessened inside the cockpit. And when you stretch it out on the Max, I was blown away just how settled and stable the rig felt, accepting all kinds of high-speed impacts without nervousness you might expect. Adding to the comfortable and connected control of the Maverick is an equally intriguing power steering system that offers you complete control. Not just control of the vehicle or control of the trail, but control of the amount of feedback you want to feel and the power output of the steering system. Tri-mode power steering gives you complete freedom to use the max setting for the slow, tight rock crawling, medium for the average trail ride, or minimum when you really feel the turbo spool and you're looking for a sporty, firm steering response. Can-Am rarely seems to leave anything out of the equation and are almost always the instigators of cool new technology. And that's precisely why we chose the 2015 Maverick Max XDS Turbo for the base vehicle for our Expedition build. And after test riding it, I'm certain we chose right. Stay tuned to upcoming episodes of Dirt Tracks where we'll walk you through each step of our ultimate Expedition Maverick build, from concept to the realization and finishing it all off with an epic expedition.
Things are beginning to change in the side-by-side industry. Finally, the Japanese OEMs are making what appears to be serious assaults on Polaris's formidable, rumored 75% market share. On this week's test ride, we're going to see whose grass gets mowed by Yamaha's all-new Wolverine.
Of all the Japanese OEMs, we felt Yamaha would be most likely to give Polaris's side-by-side dynasty a solid fight. Enter Yamaha's all-new Wolverine R-Spec. With its introduction, Yamaha has stepped out of the pure utility paradigm and has come up with a completely new mix. This Yamaha has a measure of sport blended with a utility persona. As a result of this unique blend, the Wolverine is answering a new question. The issue is this: is the market asking the question the Wolverine R-Spec answers?
Does an 81-inch wheelbase, serious KYB piggyback reservoir shocks, and a full 60-inch width reveal where Yamaha is heading with this new model?
Let's be clear, those attributes do not point to a pure sport designation for the Wolverine. Before we go too far down this road, you need to recalibrate your perception meter. The new Wolverine compares more favorably with the dual-purpose sport utility Can-Am Commander and the Kawasaki Trax. These popular sport and utility mix side-by-sides have acquired solid traction with buyers looking to do more than just one thing. And the Wolverine attempts to go one step further with improved rough terrain navigation, something Yamaha likes to call terrainability.
The R-Spec's functional fixed cargo box with a removable tailgate makes haulage possible, while its more upright seating position speaks to its utility persona. On the other side of the ledger, there's the Wolverine's impressive 81-inch wheelbase and quality suspension parts.
When we line up the spec charts and compare dimensions and features, then spin it all down under actual riding conditions, the Wolverine makes a respectable competitor for the Commander, save the Commander's formidable twin-cylinder engine offerings which deliver copious power. The R-Spec handicaps itself with a governor-limited 50 mile per hour, 85 kilometer per hour top speed. Those speeds are a little tame for a side-by-side in this segment.
When it comes to suspension and handling, the Wolverine will impress most side-by-side pilots. Excellent adjustable KYB piggyback reservoir shocks all the way around provide a comfortable and well-controlled ride. A ride that is superior to the Commander's.
From a handling standpoint, we found the R-Spec superior to the Commander, particularly on initial turn-in. There's no perceptible understeer in this chassis, and the super long wheelbase combined with a far forward cockpit orientation produces nice controllable power slides while vacuuming up trail impacts exceptionally well. The addition of EPS makes the R-Spec immediately responsive to inputs, and the Wolverine's narrow underbody frame and wide arc A-arms maximizes its 11.4 inches of ground clearance for nimble and aggressive handling on technical trails.
A major oversight that's immediately noticeable when you first drive the Wolverine and stands out on the spec chart is the lack of a tilt steering column or an adjustable seat. We really miss the tilt steering column. In fact, to credibly compete in this segment, the Wolverine needs a tilt wheel. Yamaha will sell all the R-Spec Wolverines they can build because of their reputation for drop-dead reliability and boilerplate durability. The Wolverine 708cc twin-cam 4-valve single is relatively new to the Yamaha off-road lineup, but has proven itself bulletproof in the Grizzly. The mating of this 700 single to Yamaha's Ultramatic CVT, which keeps the drive belt permanently engaged using an oil bath clutch for takeoff, means buyers are guaranteed trouble-free major component performance with exceptionally low maintenance requirements. This 708cc twin-cam engine used here is different than the Viking 686cc single-cam motor. Inasmuch as we believe Yamaha must bring an ungoverned, more powerful motor to the party soon, this 708cc single does provide spirited power for trail riding. The Wolverine comes with a large face multifunction gauge package and nicely positioned shift gear for 4x4 and diff lock. Also standard is full underbody skid plates that are swept up on both sides and rear tire frame flares. The R-Spec package includes a standard hard roof, upgraded KYB shocks, and Maxxis Bighorn 2.0 meats all around. This Wolverine had an optional standout graphic package everyone around here approved of. One thing was obvious by its absence: the cast aluminum wheels that are only available on the limited edition. Yamaha has exponentially expanded their side-by-side footprint in the past 24 months. There are now very credible reasons for you to visit your local Yamaha store if you're shopping for a side-by-side. The Wolverine gives Yamaha traction in the sport utility segment, and if what we hear is true, there's more, a lot more coming very soon.
Dirt Trax Television has been sponsored by Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation. Can-Am, the ride says it all. And by Arctic Cat. Share our passion.
Like the video you just saw? Do you want to see more? Click the subscribe link and add the Dirt Trax channel, and you're going to see a whole lot more great content.